My sister took every dollar of my allowance for 5 years. At dinner, I handed Grandpa the proof. What happened next tore the family apart. One day at lunch I passed a stack of call logs, emails and statements to a lawyer named Celine. She didn't recoil. "This is simple and not," she informed them. At that point, I recognized that this was more than just betrayal, it was thievery disguised as love. Legally it's fraud. Practically, it's family. Callum is my name. I am the oldest child at 30. I have 3 jobs. Loading trucks at a warehouse in the mornings. Fixing thermostats and office chairs for a property manager in the afternoons. Due to rent being allergic to single incomes, I spend nights delivering food. All night long, I reside in a studio above a nail salon near a bus stop of that magnitude. I have a breathing spreadsheet on my phone and a tool bag in my trunk. There are 4 tabs on it. Gas, food, rent, and surprise. Surprise wins each month. In the same way that some plants are given the best window, my sister Seraphina, who is 27 years old, is the favorite child. She's creating a reputation. According to Mom, her brand consists of unboxing videos and pastel blazers. She uses affirmations while she speaks. It's the timing of the universe if she is late on a bill. I'm too stubborn to ask for assistance, which is why I'm late. Arthur King is the grandfather. Like the joke, yes. And he's got money too. He began with a single hardware store and eventually built a little empire of storage facilities and rentals. He's wearing a watch that he could sell for a car and ancient boots. At his house, holidays were a lesson in paradox. Crystal glasses with paper plates. We hosted a family meal at his house on Friday. Roast chicken, a long table, and overly buttery green beans. There were the cousins. There were the cousins' children. Despite my best efforts to scrub, I still had grease beneath my nails after leaving the warehouse. "Loud enough for the room," Granddad added as he gave me a hug at the door. "I hope you're having fun with your allowance of $7,000. My mind stumbled. "What am I? Your stipend?" As if we were discussing the weather, he repeated. "Started it for Seraphina and you in 2019. $7,000 a month each to provide you with a runway." I forgot how hands operate as I stood there with a casserole dish that I couldn't afford to prepare. My face was at a loss for what to do, so I laughed. "I have 3 jobs at the moment," I said. Not a single perfume has ever caught my eye. A fork was dropped. My ears rang from the clink. Mom frowned at me as if I had broken the script as she moved away from the stove. "Don't begin," she advised. "Your grandfather is attempting to enjoy himself tonight." Granddad's sleeve was touched by Seraphina, who cooed. Like a nurse, she added quietly, "He knows how Callum is. He dislikes accepting assistance." I answered, "I love taking help." Too quickly. Simply put, I never encountered it. The middle of Granddad's eyebrows slowly met. "You mean you haven't met it?" I took my phone out. The history of my banking app is a graveyard of tiny sums. I combed through 3 old inboxes and opened the email from his foundation that I had finally gained access to last month. I went to disbursements and scrolled. I handed him the phone. Monthly assistance recipient for each line item. King, oh, each coordinator's detailed routing is updated. A masked account with 4 digits at the bottom that I recognized because I've Zelled that number 50 times over the years. Seraphina's. I read my grandfather's face. He does not read quickly. He is meticulous. He gave me a look. "Is this a joke?" "No," I replied. "I've been using store-brand cereal to pay for my tires. It's really immersive if this is a joke." As if it were scorching, he put down the phone. The table fell silent. Just like a room does when a teacher enters without warning. I didn't give Mom the phone when she reached for it. After smoothing her hair, Seraphina spoke softly. "I had assumed that we wouldn't be discussing money tonight." I said, "I thought we weren't doing rerouting." I was astonished by my voice. It was quiet. Granddad got up. "Who made the routing change?" "Sit down, Arthur," Mom urged. "We're not allowed," he said. "Seraphina." However, the word fell like a burden. She raised her hands. "Let's all take a deep breath. There was a miscommunication. According to the organizer, having a single landing spot for the home made things easier." I inquired, "What household?" She said the word family, as though it were a receipt. Granddad gave me a look and asked, "When did you find this out?" I replied, 30 seconds ago, but then I corrected myself because honesty is a habit that is hard to break. A month ago I had my suspicions. I requested the statements. Today they came. The atmosphere in the room was like being frozen in a brace just before a storm. When Ella D., a young cousin, muttered, "What's allowance?" her father hushed her. As if images of a baseball game would erase everything, someone put the TV on mute. Dinner attempted to restart. It didn't. My body was still acting courteous, so I ate 2 green beans. It tasted like paper in every bite. My phone buzzed at 9:14 p.m., with a number that contained the area code for the bank. I nearly ignored it because I didn't want any more commotion. I took it up. "Mr. King," said a voice. "Octavia from Franklin Trust is here. We're phoning to confirm an outgoing wire request and beneficiary change on your family account. The label reads, urgent. Are you authorized?" "Give up," I murmured, looking at my sister across the table as she pretended to carve a dessert that didn't require cutting. "Tell me the request's name." She informed me that it wasn't hers. There would be no more silence about whatever was going to happen. This wasn't a number with a lot of zeros or a foundation. It began with, "for now." Seraphina stole change from my desk to purchase lip gloss when I was 12 years old. She's learning, according to Mom. Mom gave me a sharing lecture after I told her I wanted it back. I worked weekends at my grandfather's storage lot when I was 16, earning a beat-up Honda. Because I enjoy the sense of accomplishment, I changed my own oil and stored my receipts in a shoebox. Because girls need safety, Seraphina received her mother's old SUV for her 17th birthday. College was out of the question. 2 months later, she struck a pole, and her mother responded, "It happens." When I scraped my bumper, she added, "You're reckless." I attended a community college for a semester before real life called. My back's complaints taught me the weight of a pallet while I was operating forklifts. After attempting 3 majors, Seraphina took a year off to explore her identity, then content, which, depending on your relationship to her, is either a job or not. In our household, money was like the weather. The clouds parted when Seraphina needed them. I was instructed to bring an umbrella when I had one. Granddad took us to dinner that evening in 2019 and announced that he was beginning to give us allowances. I still recall that night. He dubbed it a runway. "Therefore, you avoid making the same mistakes I did," he told us with pride. Mom listened with pride. After crying, Seraphina shared a picture of herself with the words, "Thank you." After I got home, I added a line to my breathing spreadsheet that read, "If this is real." Since entering a number felt like wishing aloud, I didn't. I saw nothing within the first month. There was a delay, I reminded myself. Nothing in the second month. Nothing on the third. Mom said, "Don't bother him. He's busy. Also, Seraphina is swamped. Can you help her move boxes?" When I texted her, "Hey, did Granddad?" I did just that. Emails regarding impact reports were sent out by the foundation every 3 months. The coordinator had a different email address on file for me, an old college account I hadn't used since the password expired, so I never received them. Nothing significant ever reached me, despite Seraphina's assurance that I'll forward the important stuff. My life, meanwhile, was all math. Groceries after 9 since meat is marked down at the shop. In my friend's driveway, the oil is changed. The sole of the shoes said hello. The fact that surprise kept winning made me take a second job. Then a third since gas began to behave like a service that required a subscription. I didn't feel embarrassed. I felt like I was exhausted. Seraphina referred to me as hustling culture as if it were a derogatory term. She would wave her hand and say, "You could scale if you stopped thinking small." After the Airbnb collaboration failed, she would ask if I could pay the security deposit for her new location. "Callum, be generous. Your sister is building something that helps all of us," Mom would say, and I would assist. When Aunt Isolde's card failed, I purchased her prescription. I sent Mom a Bridge grocery Venmo. I said to Seraphina, "Just until Friday," as if Friday were someone we would all eventually meet. This, I reminded myself, was community. After that, I returned to the warehouse and stacked boxes that had no interest in my story. When a letter from Franklin Trust bearing my name, annual beneficiary certification, arrived at my home in April, it was the first concrete hint about the foundation. "Please confirm your contact information for your monthly distribution." My distribution was the message that was displayed. I dialed the number. I laughed and asked, "Cool. Where is it?" A courteous individual replied, "We show you as active since January 2019. It appears the routing was updated by your family coordinator, Mrs. King, that's Mom, to a household account." I had to sit down since my stomach fell so quickly. I called my mother and thanked the stranger. "Hey," I said, "we need to talk about something logistical." She said, "I'm at Pilates," as though that were a response. I remarked, "You rerouted my allowance." She let out a sigh. "What a hideous word. Callum, you didn't need it. You said you were fine. I put it where it could do the most good." "The most good for who?" "For the family." Seraphina was launching. "You know you're stable, and your grandfather said it was for you and your sister. That and matters." "It matters that I never agreed," I replied. "It matters that you never told me." "You and your little contracts," she replied. I hung up before I said anything I couldn't take back. "You've always been so rigid." I urged the charity to record my current email address when I called them again. "The grantor is Granddad." "We need approval from your coordinator," they continued. "Or from the grantor." That night I didn't give Granddad a call. The guy who showed me how to check oil and assured me that I wouldn't have to hurt my back as often as he had was still in my mind. The people in between had constructed a toll booth with my name on it, but I wasn't prepared to tell him. So, when I had to be bold later, I did what I always do. I gathered evidence, I asked for statements, I obtained my credit report. I logged into every old inbox I could find. I discovered a lot of threads. Routing has been adjusted. I'm glad it's simplified now. The household prevails. The organizer enthusiastically confirmed modifications I didn't notice in messages, CCing Mom and Seraphina. Never to me. The topic lines had my name like a sticker on a box I never opened. Meanwhile, Seraphina's online life appeared to be flourishing thanks to the allowance. A trip where the photographs stated #pool day, but the tag said #work trip, a new phone, and a new laptop. A post about using a bag that cost a month's worth of my rent to commemorate the grind. I don't dislike my sister, but I was beginning to, so I stopped looking. Next came the meal. Grandfather's embrace. "Hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." That was the line that landed like it came with an invoice, and the room fell silent when I said it. I presented the masked account statement to him. His lips became thin. The bank's number appeared on my phone after a few awful bites of not dinner. The individual added, "We're calling to verify a beneficiary change and an outbound wire request on your family account. It's marked urgent." I questioned who was calling. "Seraphina's LLC," she replied, a name I knew from a tote bag and her invoices. The other thing that no one knew is that Granddad put up more than just my allowance. A maturity clause was present. The principal of my portion became available for a one-time payout on my 30th birthday last Tuesday, provided I made a written request. I hadn't asked for it. It had been someone else. "Do you authorize a wire for $250,000 to Seraphina's Social LLC?" asked Octavia from the bank. "No." Followed by, "Freeze everything tied to my SSN pending in-house fraud review." I thought, if I keep treating this like weather, I will drown, as I looked up from the phone to see my family having struck up a conversation about pie. In his library, Granddad summoned a brief family gathering as if it were a sitcom rather than a slow-motion disaster. Leather chairs, books, and an unpopular fireplace. Mom crossed her arms and sat. Seraphina examined her phone, making sure every buzz landed by. Turning the volume up. Sitting made me feel smaller than my words, so I got up. My printed assertions were in Granddad's possession. "This says," he said, "that every monthly distribution listed as O King has gone to an account ending in 4187 since March 2019. Administrative simplification." Mom spoke as if she were giving testimony in front of a committee. "We used a household account. Everything was shared." "I wasn't," I said. In her own words, "You were. You just didn't notice because you were so busy." Seraphina got right in. Her words, "And I kept receipts. Rent when I was starting, equipment, flights to conferences. It wasn't like I bought shoes." She had worn shoes that I had seen online for the equivalent of a motorcycle payment. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Granddad asked me as he turned to face me. "For 1,000 little reasons that, when spoken out, were ridiculous. Since I believed it would give the impression that I was avaricious. I was constantly on the verge of being held in contempt because Mom made my mouth feel like a courthouse. For I did not wish to be the issue, since I was preoccupied with surviving. My response was, I didn't know. Not really until I did. Like a judge who is already aware of the outcome, he gave one nod. He put his phone on speaker and looked at Octavia's number. "We need to cancel any beneficiary change requests and reverse any unauthorized wires," he stated. "Effective now." Octavia worked effectively. "We've placed a temporary hold on the outbound. We'll need written confirmation from the grantor and the beneficiary. We'll also need to verify coordinator permissions." Mom took a seat in front. Don't be theatrical. This is family. His words, this is money. And money makes most families worse. The smile on Seraphina's face broke. You're going to humiliate me over a misunderstanding? Without raising his voice, he stated, you've been undermining your brother in installments for 5 years. Mom made one final attempt. Callum never asked for help. He's stubborn. I turned to face Granddad. I then turned to face my sister. I then turned to face my mother, who instilled in me the habit of treating receipts as though they were prayers. I said, I'm not asking. I'm setting a boundary. Seraphina gave an eye roll. Oh my God. Therapy words. Grown-up words. I said, here are the simple ones. No more using my name. No more touching my money. No more routing. No more household unless I live in it. Granddad gave a metronomic slow nod. Seraphina, you'll repay every monthly amount diverted from Callum's share, he stated. And you'll send him a written accounting of what you spent. We'll decide if any of it counts as family expenses. Spoiler, it doesn't. He looked at his mother. You are removed as coordinator, effective immediately. Mom got completely white. You don't mean that. I do, he said. You forgot what the money was for. She said. And what was it for? When he said, for runway. Not for spectacle. Seraphina's tone sharpened. This is revenge, not fairness. I gave a headshake. The sentence sounded like a lock clicking. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. My hands ceased to tremble. Do you want the monthly still? Granddad inquired, glancing at me. Or the principal distribution, or both paused until you decide. Pause, I said. I want to think like a person who isn't drowning. The room moved about. Knowing that Granddad detests it, Mom got up and walked out without slamming the door. Seraphina texted someone 3 times in a panic, most likely the person who was waiting for the undeliverable wire. Before tightening a bolt, Granddad placed his hand on my shoulder in the same manner. His words were, we'll make it right. Not pretty. Right. Pretty has been our problem, I responded. His mouth was partially open in a smile. There you are. The first 48 hours were noisy. I have a metronome on my phone. Mom. In front of your grandfather, you made your sister look bad. Seraphina. You had the option to approach me first. Once more, Mom. He's elderly. He has no idea how money moves these days. Seraphina. My business is being ruined by you. Unknown number. We would want to verify that the wire transfer to Seraphina's social LLC has been cancelled. Aunt Maribel. I've always said that your mother spent her money excessively. Thorne, your cousin. Well done. Don't let anyone know that I said it. With the exception of my employer, Granddad, and the warehouse crew chat where we share images of cursed pallets, I silenced everyone. Even after taking a lengthy shower, the math remained. I wore the nice socks. I left for work. The restrooms in Building C were furious. Legacies don't matter to toilets. I felt a sense of relief. I had lunch with a lawyer who was recommended by a friend. Celine was her name. She used bullet points as she spoke. As if it were legal, I handed her a stack of documents, including emails, statements, the bank's call log, a screenshot of Seraphina's LLC, and a household account note bearing my name. She told me, this is simple and not, as she turned the pages. Legally, identity misuse, unauthorized transfer, breach of grantor intent. Practically family. Saying, I don't want a court. I want a wall. She stated, we can build one. A demand letter to repay diverted funds into your account. A new trust administrator, fraud alerts, and a directive to the foundation. No coordinator except you and the grantor. Also, passwords. Change them everywhere. I followed her instructions. A credit freeze so severe that it most likely froze my high school yearbook, a new bank, and a new email. Since 2020, I had somehow managed to pay for Mom's streaming services, so I removed my name off them. Because sometimes closure means releasing your wallet from a future you didn't sign up for, I canceled an old card that continued getting charged for household Amazon. In order to be the word receipt in a lawsuit, Granddad employed a forensic accountant. A spreadsheet that would make a saint curse was sent to us. Since March 2019, $7,000 has been reported under O each month. King defeated X4187. Notes. Office, travel, and brand costs. Complete. I needed to take a seat. Since the number is a character in this story and I don't want to give it any more lines, I won't write it here. I received an email from Seraphina that included a 4-page PDF document with the subject apportionment. When Mom was short, we paid her HOA. The family gains from our investment in my company. Callum didn't. Inquire. Let's be mature and not make this ugly, says the final line. I sent it on to Celine. Then she sent Seraphina and Mom a letter that contained terms like misappropriation, restitution, fiduciary duty, and my new favorite, cease. She responded, "We're adults." That's why it's in writing. It wasn't impolite. There was a pay-labeled door on the wall. I prepared for what lay ahead. It originated in the typical way. "You're removing food from your sister's mouth, Mom." Me. "For the past 5 years, she has been eating off of me." Mom. "You don't show gratitude." Me. "For what purpose?" Mom. "On behalf of the family we provided you." Me. "I gave you the family. Go ahead and read." No response. Seraphina took an alternative approach. "Let's talk without lawyers." The coffee shop where we met served drinks with extra adjectives. She appeared to be someone who dislikes dim lighting because she was wearing sunglasses and a white blazer indoors. She began by crying. She declared, "I didn't steal. I allocated." Calmly. "You stole," I said. "You don't understand how building something works," she replied. "You should be proud. I put our name out there." I asked, "What's our name?" "You mean my name?" Like a singer switching keys, she wiped her eyes and went to wrath. She remarked, "You love being a victim. You could have asked for rent money any time." When I said I didn't want rent money, I wanted my money, she remarked, "You're so small." "Maybe," I replied. "But small pays its own bills." She got up. Her words, "This is a battle." "No," I replied. "This is accounting." That night Granddad called. I'm not used to hearing him sound elderly. "I should have watched it closer," he stated. I thought I was helping. Instead I lit a match and walked away. I remarked, "You were helping. It just got repurposed." "Your mother's out as coordinator," he said, as if letting himself know. "I'm putting a professional in place. If you want monthly, it'll go straight to you. If you want the principal, we'll do it by the book. If you want neither, I won't be offended." When I said, "I want a fence," "Then I want to think." "Good," he said. "Because the only time money is evil is when it's a secret." The road was bumpy the next week, but only when we pulled over did it cease bumping. Seraphina's wiring was unsuccessful. Her fans congratulated her when she shared a black and white story with the caption, "Some people don't like to see you win." She sobbed as she spoke live about the betrayal of her family. I didn't observe. I ignored a screen capture that a cousin emailed me with the description, LOL. A family gathering at Mom's house with a pot roast that tasted like the 1990s was her final big gesture. Celine was brought on Zoom by me. Mom disliked that, but since she enjoys entertaining, she kept things going. Celine reviewed the figures. "We're asking for repayment of diverted monthly distributions to Callum's account. 30 days, she stated. "We're not asking for punitive damages, we're not filing a police report, we're not going to court if you comply." Seraphina's laughter was devoid of humor. "You can't squeeze blood from a stone," she stated. Selena remained still. "Good thing we're squeezing it from money." Mom tried crying. She said, "You're his sister." As though I was unaware of it. "I know," I replied. "That's why I'm not pressing charges. That's why I'm asking for a plan. That's why this isn't a scene. It's a line." Everything was different when we departed, and nothing was signed. In any case, a partial restitution transfer appeared in my new account 2 days later. It wasn't from Seraphina, it was from Granddad. He sent a message. "She'll repay me. You're not my bill collector. You're my grandson." Like a character in a movie who eventually lets go of their jaw, I sobbed for 10 minutes on my kitchen floor while wrapped in a towel. Because I wasn't juggling 2 jobs at once, my work became easier. On paper, I still held 3 jobs, but the balance changed. My manager didn't fire me because I declined an additional shift. My feet hurt from my old boots, so I got new ones. There were no numbers in it when I inhaled. Late-night texts were still coming in. Hurricanes and group chats persisted. Some family members still considered gossip to be a game. However, my mind also contained a locker with a door. "Mine," it said. 5 weeks have passed. There is a qualified administrator present. I get emails that are addressed to me and contain my name. The monthly doesn't happen on its own. I requested that Granddad put it on hold while I consider my personality when I'm not working hard to remain motionless. The main is positioned behind a procedure, not beneath my sister's cursor, as it should be. I text Seraphina when we need to discuss Mom and the holidays. I ignore her flares when she says things like, "You made me look bad." Like coupons, Mom sends me stories about forgiveness and pictures of sunsets. I adore them. I don't understand. I posted the following 5 lines to the cabinet in my kitchen, where the coffee is kept. Never to see again. I don't send money I can't afford. Household doesn't give you the right to use my name. For those who would rather use magic, I don't explain math. I don't respond to inquiries about money via phone, email, or any other method. I don't feel bad about locks on doors that ought to have been secured from the beginning. Every time I cook eggs, I read them aloud. It feels both forceful and stupid at the same time. Granddad stopped by the other day with a look and a bag of bolts. Between us, we fixed 1 unsteady object and 3 wobbly chairs. He continued, "I wanted you to have options, not obligations." "I wanted that too," I said. As he does after finishing a task, he placed his palm on the table and tapped twice. "Good." He continued, "If you want a moral, it's boring and it works. Don't pay for the story where you are the villain and the sponsor. Don't call a pipeline a misunderstanding. Don't let a banner that says family cover a receipts drawer. Build a fence, keep a door, use both. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure." The studio above the nail salon is still where I am. The bus continues to sigh. Even though I still have a tool bag with me, my heart doesn't race as my phone buzzes at 9:14 p.m. My finger is on the button if the bank calls. According to the cabinet, if the family calls, the call is sent to voicemail. The allowance is not me. The sponsor is not me. I have the authority to choose what I will fund with cash, time, and quiet.